Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to our live post-game show after Game 1 of the Spurs versus the Heat. Pretty exciting, pretty interesting, and to join me for a little bit, we have Coach Gibson Piper, who's been helping me a lot with some different breakdowns, and I thought we'd bring him on for a couple minutes and talk a little bit about what he saw from the game and what my reactions were too. So, Coach, are you there?
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, good, good. So what's your initial impression? I mean, how much are we going to have to chalk up to the Heat in the gym?
Um, Obviously with LeBron cramping and so I was a little slick at times. I don't think it's the ultimate deciding factor. It did cause some issues late in the game.
Absolutely. And so I did see some interesting things going on in the beginning where the Spurs were doing whatever they wanted to do on offense up until that point of getting the shot and making that last pass to score and just throwing it away. Did you feel like that was a lot of the Heat's defense, or was that just carelessness?
I think it was mainly due to carelessness. I think the Heat caused a little bit of it stretch. They should execute. They should finish that, and they should take care of it.
Yeah, because what I tweeted out at some point was it just felt like to me that this series isn't about what the Heat do on offense, no matter whether, as long as LeBron's healthy. What it matters is can they force enough turnovers to stop the Spurs from getting those easy shots.
Yeah, roll defense. They had a lot of rolls to the rim where the Heat had a little bit of breakdown.
Absolutely. We have a little bit of a lag here going on, but hopefully we can get that. Maybe it's because you're uploading clips to me right now. But either way, let's talk lastly about what's going to happen here. How many days they have between the next game? Today's Thursday. They're playing on Sunday, right? So it looks like they're going to have plenty of time to recover for LeBron, right?
Plenty of time. I mean, Tony Parker dealt with an ankle injury, and he had 3 days to come back. I think LeBron and cramping will be fine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think the Heat are going to need to figure out a way of rotating better, and I would suspect they're not going to hedge as high and really try and blitz as much. I was surprised they did it as much as they did. Were you?
Yeah, I was a little taken back by that just because the rest that they have outside. The rotations and recovery is a little bit harder when you have so much spacing to make up. I think they'll probably be a little more conservative next game. Maybe at home they might blitz a little more with a little bit crowd.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Coach, thanks for coming on. And guys, don't forget to follow him at Half Court Hoops. And you'll see a lot more coming up on B-Ball Breakdown with him and I. So great stuff. Thanks for getting me the clips tonight. And we will catch up with you as soon as we can. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
See you guys.
Alrighty, so now let's break into some highlights, shall we? I have a whole bunch of clips to go through, and let's jump right into it, shall we? Let's see here. Let me get my screen share going, if it will come up here, and let's click into this, and let's go right to in the first quarter. I have let's see here, back-to-back turnovers right from the beginning. The Spurs were off. Perhaps you can argue that because of the layoff, they were rusty. I don't know. Let me turn the sound off here. But let's see what happens on this turnover. So you can see here, they run into a motion weak, which means that Tony Parker initiates to the left wing, and then does a shallow cut to the right side, going to the weak side, gets the ball. Now we usually have some sort of a flex action going on, and this is just a pin down, actually, for Kawhi. And Kawhi's open. He's got to take this shot. Now what happens with this is they over-rotate Wade over here, which means that Green is open. Let's see here. Yeah. So, and then, Kawhi just tries to put the ball on the ground and go by Wade, who just takes the ball away, and there's LeBron for the easy 2 points. So, good defense by Wade to have heads up, but it's indicative of the kind of position that the Heat are getting out of to have to make those plays. So now they come right down. This is strong, where Tony Parker brings it right up. Duncan's got position down low. So let's see what happens here. They're going to rotate from the weak side, which I like. I hate when I see teams double down from the strong side on the one pass away to the easy pass back. So they rotate. Wade tries to get a steal. Now here's the problem. Kawhi coming in kind of allows Rashard Lewis to guard two guys at the same time. And, oh, look at that. That actually wasn't even a double team at that point. They ended up rotating off. And I don't know what Duncan saw here. Let's just go back and look at this. So really, if Kawhi stays spaced out in the corner, it's a nice, easy skip pass for a wide open shot, and then Green can be here if LeBron rotates down to Kawhi. But instead, because Kawhi cuts in, that makes an easy rotation. So I see what he did. Kawhi is back screening for Parker, but doesn't hold the position. Kawhi got out of there way too early. That caused the next steal, and they come down. So, oh, then they throw it away right away. That got to be a little sloppy. Let's move on to 6:50 in the first. There we go. Let's skip the commercials. Okay, so we start out after a timeout with okay, so here's a nice little action because they're trying to front the post and cause a lot of pressure. So Tim Duncan hands off. He's going to get a couple screens around the horn here for the low post position. Manu can feed him. Now, what I like what Manu does here is he's going to see that it gets a little wonky. There's a fronting. So one of the ways to combat fronting in the post is dribble down in the corner to get a better seal on the baseline. Now, LeBron comes over on an extreme rotation because obviously Tim Duncan will just score real easily, and even then he still does. He splits that, gets to the rim, but you can see here there's Kawhi wide open in that corner. It probably really should be Danny Green if he's in, or maybe even Diaw. But Kawhi has shown that he can hit that corner three. So you can see that the Spurs are getting whatever they want there, and it's real dangerous. So let's move on to oh, I missed one here I want to show you. So first of all, we saw a lot of Hornets action by both teams in the first half. And so what we were seeing as the adjustment was, and if we all remember what Horns is, it's a double high post with two guys in the corner. So here it is. Two guys in the high post and LeBron's in the left corner where he likes to be. Either he's here in the left corner, here at the left elbow, or on top. And I don't even remember seeing him on the left elbow at all game, which is kind of a strange departure. I'm always confused about what the Heat do and what they run because what I identify as really good Heat stuff ends up they don't run it much. It's very strange. Meanwhile, let's see. So what they do is they dribble over. This is interesting. This is very rare to dribble over while not really screening the ball, and then they have LeBron just dive into the post and then turn around. And see, something was a little bit weird about that because you would think he would have cut early and just pivoted, but he kind of went deeper, stopped, came back, and anyway, it comes into a nice post-up position. Kawhi doesn't do a bad job. He makes him catch it about 18 feet from the hoop, but it's a face-up and a beautiful shot on a jab step and just a raise-up. Really good stuff. Now, what we do is we come back to that in a couple minutes later after we get to the commercials. And we're going to see the same play. Let's see here. I marked it down. Okay. Okay. So something similar, but they actually just spread five out, and they had LeBron. Let's just watch LeBron on the left wing. We talked about this. He likes to start on the right wing, and the top and the left wing are his most common spots in our breakdown of him. So you'll see LeBron's going to dive into the low post here. Real simple to keep getting that. They want to get him the ball in the low post. That's that pivot I was talking about. Get low, make contact, and pivot and open up into the ball. Now look where he is, how close he is. That's a really good position, but he just drops the ball. Very strange. Who knows? Maybe the ball was wet or something because it was so hot. Let's skip over to 405. Okay, so at 405, this is a nice little action here, and we didn't see a lot of this. At least I didn't detect this a lot in the playoffs beforehand. But here we're going to see a nice little action that Ray Allen gets involved with his movement. So let's identify. Ray Allen starts in the right corner. We have LeBron on the right side. It's always good to have your better offensive players working together on the same side to create something. And here's a real simple pin down. And then we've seen this a lot in the past where they hit Ray right back to him, and then usually Ray will loop around and get some sort of screen here. Instead, this turns into a down pick and roll going toward the baseline. And then they try to actually contain that here. Kawhi's got to close out late, and look at that blow by LeBron and a great finish. LeBron has got to be really scary when you see him pop out like this to the wing and then just get low and go. Look at that. You're not going to stop that ever. Really good stuff, and that's a nice action there to get to take away the defense toward where Ray Allen was going and open it up. Let's see here. Let's go to the Spurs get horns. It was 2 minutes to go. Let's check that out. So the Spurs are going to bring it down. They're going to break into horns at the end of the first quarter. So there it is. A quick pass to the top. Boom, they break right into it. You got Diaw and Splitter in the high post and Danny Green and Patty Mills in the corner. So this is interesting. They got Manu as a point guard, basically, and Mills as a spot-up two guard. So watch how they initiate. Double ball screen on either side. I like this. This is for Manu, who's very creative with the ball. And, okay, screen and roll. Now watch. Splitter is going to dive. That's going to force Shane Battier, who is supposed to be guarding Diaw, to come over and bump. So that's a bump right there. But it's not good enough because he left him early enough to let Splitter get the ball right for the roll. Really good action there. Way to spread them out, and there isn't a lot you can do about that. And Splitter hasn't traditionally finished well, but that's a really good finish. So let's now move on to what do you say? We move on to some questions from the audience because we have another few minutes before I got to go pick up my daughter from ballet, but let's see if we can get some good questions here. Do I have my window set up? I do, don't I? Let me make sure. Excuse me, guys. This is live here. Here we go. Where's my Twitter questions? Make sure you use hashtag #BBallsShow, like we can see at the top here, and let's see what we got. Let me grab that window. Okay, so. Gotta scroll down again. All right, here we go. Do you think Spo is underrated as a coach? 4 consecutive finals trips requires decent coaching, I feel. Steve Jack. Absolutely. During my AMA today, I rated Coach Spo top 5 in the league. You can't get to 4 straight finals without being a top 5 coach. The thing I'm most impressed with him, though, isn't offense, though. It's with his defense. How he can get those 5 guys to play as hard as they can and rotate like that is impressive to me. We don't see very many teams that all do that. And we do see adjustments. It's just weird that he doesn't go to what I think works more often, and I don't know what that's about. It's weird. But, yeah, he's definitely top 5. And, with all the turnover, he's one of only 5 or 6 coaches that are still around from 2 years ago. So it's kind of silly in that respect because, just by virtue of being around a couple of years, he's in top 5. Do you just let LeBron make jumpers or play close defense and take the risks? I think with this kind of defense, you got to take turns. You got to be up on him and bumping him and be pressure. Then you got to lay off and give him room. I think you got to keep him guessing. That's the best way to get him off rhythm. And obviously, give him more room more often. Okay, that's what you want. You want him to shoot from the outside, but you got to mix it up a little bit. Let's see here. Constantine asks, "Are you more surprised with Ray's or Green's dunk?" I'm more surprised with Ray, but Green was pretty surprising because I didn't think he was going to quite get there to even get a layup, much less a dunk. But two great plays by some players that it was good to see. What were the Alfred wants to know what were the turning points that changed the game to a Spurs win despite having lots of turnovers? Obviously, it's LeBron going down. They had a lead before he went out. They were really kind of hurting them with their turnovers. Once LeBron had to go to the bench with cramps or with heat exhaustion, that was it. It really turned the game around for a lot of ways, and the Heat just couldn't get anything going offensively. It really hurt them. If LeBron is out for the series, is Miami done? Absolutely, but I don't know if please let me know if that's the case, but as far as I could tell, they'll get fluids in him, and he should be okay, even though it is dangerous to go through what he did and push it too far. So I don't know. Hopefully the doctors are on it. Hopefully he's going to get some IV, but if there's a doctor out there with a B-Ball Show hashtag, let me know and make sure I'm saying that right. Why was LeBron the only one affected that significantly by the hot temperatures? It's a great question. I have to imagine it was because he didn't drink as much fluids as everybody else, which is weird. But everybody's body is different. They deal with heat differently, and it just happened that way. It's really unfortunate. Let's see. After the Spurs implode in the third, do the Spurs still win this if AC doesn't take down LeBron? No, I don't think the Spurs win it without the Heat, without question. Without LeBron going down because of the Heat, the Spurs don't win this. How can the Spurs get past this? They did have stretches where they got better, and I think pro teams that are as good as the Spurs tend to get used to the pressure as time goes on and as games go on. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a game where the Spurs destroy the Heat, have one of those crazy runs where they go on a 20-2 run and just win the game by 30. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen because we've seen glimpses of it now where they're going to get open shots if they can handle the ball. And if they get used to it too much, then that's going to be one of those crazy games. Let's see. Nikhil Attar asks, turnovers weren't only by carelessness. They were playing to the baseline or trying to force shots even when they weren't on. Yeah, that's true. They certainly went to no man's land toward the corners and got trapped along the baseline a little bit too much. And it's, there's not too many teams that can do that to the Spurs, but certainly the Heat are. And so you'll probably see them less. You'll see a lot more turning towards to the middle to attack instead of the baseline to get into the defense. Coach, I kind of felt that the Spurs were doing a lot less pinch post. I saw a couple times where Tim Duncan actually opened up for the pinch post and they didn't hit him. So that's definitely something that's going to hurt the Spurs because that pinch post area is where you can take a lot of pressure off of the offense. Do I think that Ginobili is a Hall of Famer? I don't know what Hall of Famer means anymore, so I almost can't tell you. I mean, he's been terrific. I don't think he's been the best player at his position at any time during his career. And was he top 2? He's probably top 3 at some point during his career. So I suppose that should be enough, right? With how the Spurs offense finished out the game and stopped turning it over, did it really matter LeBron was out? It definitely did matter without question. But it does tell you that they can get used to that pressure and get the shots they need. So, there's no question. But, LeBron's a great defender as well. Was going to ask which team was affected by the Heat, but it's obvious. Absolutely. Do you think that Spoelstra could have subbed differently? For sure. I think he played LeBron too many minutes early on, and that was a killer. And I think that if there's one coach that knows how to manage minutes, it's Pop. Is Powerade the real loser today? Absolutely, Powerade's the real loser, especially if they come out and say that LeBron was drinking whatever Powerade early in the game. But unless they're going to say he wasn't drinking enough, if he was drinking, then they got him to do it. Then there's a real failure there with Gatorade or whatever he was drinking. Running pick and roll for Miami, no way. 2 deadly turnovers. Coach's decision to react to the player. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. I got to look at it because I can't picture which ones you're talking about. But certainly you're going to want Wade to do it. But Wade kind of didn't play well down that stretch without LeBron. So how does an elite athletic competitor like LeBron get cramps like that? You would think, but guys are strange. They react differently to really extreme. And that was as extreme as you're going to get. You're never going to play a finals game that many minutes in a 90-degree temperature. It's crazy. I mean, maybe they did it with the Celtics back in the day, but it's rare. Let's see here. So last couple questions before we got to wrap this up, unfortunately. Since cramps can happen to anyone, but LeBron does a lot of jumping cuts, this is similar to a wide receiver. Yeah, for sure. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to LeBron. Do I think the Spurs should take shots once they're open, especially against a turnover-based defense? They're always going to work to get the best shot possible. So it's like they're not going to just suddenly start gunning shots. I mean, we've seen them do that a little bit, but they'll always – it feels like they revert to making the extra pass. And I just think eventually they get used to that kind of defense. Can I remember a team that passed as well collectively as the Spurs? 7 seconds or less is real close, and then so were the Sacramento Kings with Chris Webber. That was probably as good a passing as I've seen, on par with what we see for the Spurs. Will Heat's individual quality defeat Spurs team basketball this year? I don't think so. I think the Spurs have too much and they're too deep. So, sports fans, I hate to do this to you, but family first, right? I kind of gave you my overview. We did some good video breakdown. This is going to be an amazing series. I think they're going to get under control. LeBron will be fine. The air conditioning will be fine. We're going to get, I think, a 7-game series. Even though I guarantee, or I'm not going to guarantee, but I predict that there will be one of those Spurs games where they just go off and they detonate. It's going to be crazy coaches' delight. So stay tuned and watch for that. We're going to get a great breakdown up tonight as soon as possible, so stay tuned for all this stuff. And then don't forget, I'm going to be in Miami on the scene doing really cool breakdowns and man on the street stuff while I'm there. So stay tuned for a lot of great content from Miami. If you have any ideas, tweet me, email me, comment to me, and let me know if you have any cool things that you think I should be doing while I'm down there with my cell phone camera and my mic and everything. So it should be awesome. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?